The orbital station Varex 9 never slept. Ships arrived every minute. Aliens of every shape and color walked through its metal halls. Noise, lights, and strange languages filled the air. Humans were rare here, and when they appeared, they were ignored. Too. Most species, humans were weak, short-lived, and emotionally unstable. They were allowed on the station only for trade and labor. Nothing more. Lyra Kale knew this well. She was an alien cultural officer, trained to observe, inspect, and report. Her species valued logic above all else. Emotions were controlled. Bonds were regulated. Love was not random, it was measured. On Lyra's wrist rested a small silver device, the Soulmate indicator. It had existed for thousands of cycles. It was designed to activate only when two perfectly compatible souls touched. Among her people, it almost never activated by accident, and with humans, it had never activated. Not once. Lyra believed this as truth, until the day she met Ethan Cross. Ethan stood quietly near Dock 7, waiting for inspection. He wore simple clothes and carried a small supply case. He did not look nervous. He did not look afraid. That alone was strange. Most humans avoided eye contact on Varex 9. Ethan did not. His eyes were calm, focused, but kind. Lyra stepped forward. "Identification," she said in basic trade language. Ethan handed over his scanner card. "Here you go," he replied. His voice was steady. Lyra scanned the card. Human. Cargo technician. No criminal record, no enhancements. Nothing special. Yet. Something felt off. Not dangerous. Just unfamiliar. "Standard inspection," Lyra said. "Hold out your hand." Ethan nodded and extended his hand without question. Lyra hesitated for half a second. Protocol required physical contact to confirm biosignatures. She had done this thousands of times. Still, her fingers paused in the air. Then she touched his hand. The world stopped. A sharp pain shot through Lyra's chest. Her breath caught. Lights exploded across her vision. Her wrist device lit up. Red. Gold. White. An alarm tone echoed low and ancient. Soulmate indicator. ACDVA. Lyra stumbled back, eyes wide. "No. That's not possible," she whispered. Ethan pulled his hand away at once. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked. Lyra could not answer. Her device continued glowing, symbols spinning rapidly. The screen flashed words she had only seen in archived texts. True soul match confirmed. Lock status. PRMA and E around them. The station seemed to grow quieter. A few nearby aliens stared. One dropped a crate. Lyra's heart raced. Humans were blocked from the system. Their emotional range was considered unstable, too strong, too unpredictable. That was why the Ancient Council removed them. So why had the indicator responded? Why him? Lyra raised her shaking hand and tried to shut the device down. Nothing happened. She tried again. Still nothing. Ethan watched her with concern. "Did I do something wrong?" he asked softly. Lyra finally looked at him. There was no fear in his eyes. No excitement. No confusion, only worry for her. That made it worse. "Step back," she said quickly. Ethan obeyed without protest. Lyra turned away and activated a private channel on her wrist. "This is Officer Kale," she said, forcing her voice steady. "I am reporting a device malfunction." The device pulsed again, brighter. "Warning. Separation distress." Lyra froze. Separation distress? That feature was theoretical. It was meant for bonded pairs under threat. It was not supposed to activate instantly. She felt a strange pressure in her chest when Ethan took another step back, as if something inside her resisted the distance. This was wrong. All of it was wrong. Security drones began to hover nearby. Drawn by the anomaly signal, Ethan noticed them and frowned. "Am I in trouble?" he asked. Lyra swallowed. If she reported this honestly, Ethan would be taken away for testing. Humans subjected to alien research rarely returned the same. She looked at him again, still calm, still patient. No, she said quietly, not yet. The indicator gave a soft chime, almost approving. Lyra clenched her fist. Her entire life she had trusted systems over feelings. Now the oldest system of all had chosen a human, and it had chosen now. She knew one thing for certain. From this moment on, nothing in her life or the galaxy would remain the same. And somewhere deep inside, beneath the fear and confusion, Lyra felt something else awaken, something dangerously close to hope. Lyra Kale walked faster than usual. The metal floor of HFY 9 echoed under her boots as she moved through a side corridor meant only for officers. Behind her, Ethan followed without complaint. 2 security drones hovered nearby, silent but alert. Lyra could still feel it, a strange pull in her chest. Every time Ethan slowed down, the pressure grew. When he came closer, it eased. The Soulmate indicator on her wrist glowed softly, no longer flashing, but very much alive. It was watching. Lyra hated that feeling. Officer Kale, Ethan said carefully, breaking the silence. You said I'm not in trouble, but this doesn't feel normal. She stopped walking. The drones halted in the air. The corridor lights dimmed slightly, reacting to her authority signal. You are not under arrest, Lyra said. But you are involved in something serious, Ethan nodded. Can you tell me what? Lyra looked at him for a long moment. She had studied hundreds of species. She had learned how lies changed heart rates, skin color, breathing patterns. Ethan showed none of that. So she chose honesty, partial honesty. The device on my wrist, she said, lifting her arm. It is not supposed to activate for humans. Ethan raised an eyebrow. Activate how? Lyra took a breath. It determines soul compatibility. Ethan blinked once. Like soulmates? Yes, Lyra answered. He stared at the glowing device, then back at her. And it activated when you touched me. Yes, for a moment, he said nothing. Lyra waited for panic, for jokes, for denial. Instead, Ethan spoke quietly. That explains why you look like you've seen a ghost. Lyra almost reacted, but stopped herself. Humor. Humans used humor under stress. That device, she continued, has not activated in over 200 cycles, not fully. And never with your species. Ethan frowned. Why? Lyra hesitated. Because humans were removed from the system, she said. Long ago. The indicator pulsed once, brighter. Lyra ignored it. They said humans feel too deeply, she continued. Too fast. Too strong. Bonds formed with humans changed people, changed societies. Ethan crossed his arms slowly. So the solution was to pretend we don't exist. Yes, that sounds familiar, he said. Lyra studied him again. There was no anger in his voice, just understanding. That made her uneasy. A sharp tone interrupted them. The drones turned red. Incoming authority. Signal. Lyra's wrist device projected a hologram. The symbol of the Galactic Cultural Council appeared. Her chest tightened. They had detected the activation. Officer Kale, a cold voice said. Report immediately. Explain the anomaly. Lyra straightened her posture. There is no anomaly, she said carefully. Only an unexpected reaction. I am still investigating. There was a pause. Bring the human to holding sector C, the voice ordered. For evaluation. Ethan looked at Lyra, not afraid. Just trusting. Lyra ended the transmission without responding. The corridor went silent. She knew what holding sector C meant. Medical scans, neural mapping, emotional stress tests. Humans often broke under those procedures. Some never left. No, Lyra said quietly. The drones rotated toward her. Officer? Ethan asked. Lyra turned to him. You should not be here, she said. And yet, the system says you must be. The indicator chimed softly again. She clenched her jaw. I will not send you to Sector C, she said. Ethan's eyes widened slightly. You're risking your job, yes. Your freedom, yes. Why? He asked. Lyra did not answer right away. She did not understand it herself. All her life, she followed logic, rules, systems. Now the oldest system of all was telling her something different. Because, she said finally, every time you step away from me, it hurts. Ethan froze. Lyra felt heat rise to her face, a rare thing for her species. That is not normal for us, she added quickly. And I need to understand why. Ethan slowly nodded. Okay, he said. Then we figure it out, together. Together, the word echoed in her mind. Lyra activated a hidden access panel and opened a narrow maintenance passage. This way, she said. There's a place off the grid, old records, forbidden ones. As they stepped inside, the drones hesitated. Unable to follow, the passage sealed shut behind them. In the dim light, Lyra felt the indicator grow warm, steady, calm, not alarmed. As if it approved. Ethan glanced at her wrist. That thing seems happy, he said. Lyra looked at the glowing symbol and felt a strange truth settle in her chest. The galaxy had tried to erase human bonds, but it had failed, and whatever this bond was, it was only just beginning. The maintenance tunnel was old. Lights flickered along the curved metal walls, and the air smelled of dust and forgotten systems. Varex 9 had grown layer by layer over centuries, and this place belonged to its earliest days. Lyra walked ahead, her steps cautious but steady. Ethan followed, carrying his case over one shoulder. For the first time since they met, the station felt quiet. Too quiet. Lyra stopped at a sealed door marked with faded symbols. Stay close, she said. Ethan nodded. Wasn't planning to wander off. She placed her palm on the door panel. The system scanned her biosignature, then hesitated. Her wrist device warmed. The door unlocked. Lyra frowned. This section should not recognize me, she muttered. They stepped inside. The room beyond was small and round, filled with old data pillars and dark holographic screens. This was not an office. It was an archive, one that had been hidden, not deleted. Lyra activated the central console. Lines of ancient code appeared, written in a language no longer taught. Her eyes widened as she read. These files, she whispered. They were sealed by the First Council. Ethan leaned closer. What do they say? Lyra hesitated, then continued reading. They speak of a time when the Soulmate indicator activated often, she said. Too often. She tapped the screen, opening a record. A hologram appeared, two figures from different species, holding hands. The indicator glowed between them. These bonds caused rapid changes, Lyra explained. Stronger alliances, faster trust, emotional healing. Ethan smiled slightly. That sounds good. Yes, Lyra said quietly. Too good. She opened another file. The smile faded from her face. The council feared loss of control, she said. They believed bonded beings could not be ruled easily. Ethan's jaw tightened. They tested the system, Lyra continued. They learned something dangerous. She paused. When humans formed bonds with other species, the effect was amplified. Ethan looked at her. Amplified how? Lyra turned the screen toward him. The data showed rising patterns, emotional stability, survival rates, reduced conflict. Entire regions became peaceful after human bonds formed. Humans anchor others, Lyra said. Your species stabilizes emotional systems. You make others stronger. Ethan exhaled slowly. So instead of learning from that, they banned us. Yes, the indicator pulsed once, bright and warm. Lyra felt a tightness in her chest. Not pain this time, but anger. They erased humans from compatibility charts, she said. They told the galaxy humans were too volatile. She closed her eyes for a moment. They were afraid. Ethan was silent. Then he asked, "What happens to bonded pairs?" Lyra opened the final file. Her hands shook. "When the bond is activated and locked," she said, "separation becomes harmful. Emotional collapse, physical damage, sometimes death." Ethan's face paled. "That's why you felt pain," he said. "When I stepped away." Lyra nodded. "And why the device cannot be shut down," she added. "The bond has chosen." Ethan laughed softly, without humor. "Of course it did." A sudden alarm echoed through the archive. Red lights flashed. Lyra spun around. "They found us." Her wrist device projected a warning. "Council override initiated bond termination protocol." LOD. Lyra's heart stopped. "They're going to force it off," she said. Ethan grabbed her wrist gently. "What happens if they do?" Lyra swallowed. "The records say forced termination causes permanent damage." "To you?" Ethan asked. "To both of us." Ethan tightened his grip, not hard but firm. "Then we don't let them," he said. Lyra looked at him in surprise. "You would resist the council?" she asked. He met her eyes. "I won't let someone hurt you because of me." The indicator flared bright gold. A new message appeared. "Protective response HFY." The room shook. Energy surged through the consoles. The alarms cut off suddenly. The red lights died. The override failed. Lyra stared at the screen in disbelief. "The system chose you," she whispered. Ethan released her wrist slowly. "Looks like it chose us." Footsteps echoed outside the door, heavy, armored. Lyra knew what that meant. The council was done watching. They were coming, and for the first time in her life. Lyra did not feel alone. She felt ready. The heavy footsteps outside the archive door grew louder. Lyra's ears caught the sound of powered armor and weapon locks. These were not station guards. These were council enforcers sent only when an example was needed. Lyra's pulse quickened. "They are not here to talk," she said. Ethan looked around the small archive room. "No exits?" he asked. "One," Lyra replied, pointing to a narrow service shaft behind the data pillars. "But it leads straight into council territory." Ethan gave a short nod. "Then that's where we go." Before Lyra could respond, the door exploded inward, metal bent. Sparks flew. 3 enforcers stepped inside, tall and armored, their eyes glowing behind dark visors. The council symbol burned bright on their chests. "Officer Lyra Kale," the lead enforcer said. "You are in violation of galactic law." Lyra stood tall. "I am performing an investigation," she replied, "within my authority." The enforcer's gaze shifted to Ethan. "And you," it said coldly, "are a human contamination." Ethan felt the word hit harder than a weapon. Lyra's wrist burned. The Soulmate indicator flared, flooding the room with light. A warning echoed from it, deep and resonant. "Threat DT." Lyra stepped in front of Ethan without thinking. That single move made the enforcers pause. "You would protect him?" the lead enforcer asked. "Even now?" "Yes," Lyra answered. Her voice was steady. "Because the bond is real." The enforcer raised an arm. "The council has decided. The bond must end." A device unfolded from its wrist, long, sharp, glowing with dark energy. Bond severer. Lyra had only seen it in records. Ethan took a step forward. "Wait," he said. "If someone has to suffer, let it be me." Lyra turned sharply. "No." The indicator screamed. "Bond rejection." DT said. The pain surged through Lyra's chest as if her body rejected the idea itself. She gasped, nearly falling. Ethan caught her instantly. The enforcers hesitated again. "The system refuses your logic," Lyra said through the pain. "It will not sacrifice one for the other." The lead enforcer's voice grew cold. "Then you leave us no choice." The bond severer fired before it could reach them. The indicator released a burst of energy. The room shook violently. The enforcers were thrown backward, crashing into the walls. Ethan shielded Lyra instinctively. his arms wrapped around her. When the light faded, the bond severer lay broken on the floor. Silence followed. Lyra stared at her wrist. This was impossible. The Soulmate indicator was not a weapon, or so they believed. The lead enforcer rose slowly, damaged but still standing. This changes nothing, it said. The Council will not allow a human to stand equal. Lyra lifted her chin. Then the Council no longer understands the galaxy, she replied. The enforcer activated its Prepare the tribunal chamber, it ordered. Both subjects will be judged. Restraint fields snapped around Lyra and Ethan. They were strong, but not painful. Ethan looked at Lyra. Guess we're meeting your bosses. Lyra let out a slow breath. They will not be kind. Ethan gave a small, calm smile. Neither am I, he said. When someone I care about is threatened. The indicator pulsed warmly. Care. That word meant little to Lyra's people. But now, it felt like the strongest force in the universe. As they were escorted down the corridor toward the tribunal chamber, aliens stepped aside in fear and confusion. Whispers spread. A human had resisted the Council. An officer had chosen a bond over obedience. And the human had resisted the Council. A officer had resisted over obedience. And the Soulmate indicator had defended them both. Lyra knew this was the moment history would divide. Before them stood judgment, behind them stood the past, and beside her, walking calmly through the storm, was the human the galaxy had tried to erase. The tribunal chamber was older than Varex 9 itself. Its walls were carved from black alloy that absorbed light. Rows of floating platforms formed a wide circle, and above them hovered the Council of 9, ancient, powerful, and distant. Lyra and Ethan were guided to the center. The restraint fields faded, but the weight in the room remained, every eye in the chamber focused on the human. Begin, said the central counselor, its voice echoing from every direction. Lyra straightened. I will speak first, she said. You will speak when permitted. The counselor replied. Ethan felt Lyra tense beside him. He took one step forward. I'll speak, he said calmly. A ripple of surprise moved through the council. Human, the counselor said. You have no standing here, Ethan nodded. I know, but this is about me. Lyra turned sharply. Ethan, he raised a hand gently, asking her to trust him. I didn't come to your station to change history, Ethan said. I came to do my job. I followed every rule. He looked around the chamber. I didn't choose this bond, he continued. But neither did she. The Soulmate indicator glowed softly, steady and warm. One counselor leaned forward. The bond is a threat to balance, it said. Ethan shook his head. No, fear is. A murmur spread. You fear what happens when people connect, Ethan said. Because connection cannot be controlled. Lyra watched him in disbelief. He was standing alone in front of the most powerful beings in the galaxy, without anger, without pride. Only honesty. If someone must be punished, Ethan said, let it be me. The chamber went silent. Lyra's heart froze. I will leave the station, Ethan continued. I will leave the system. Remove me from your charts again. But do not harm her. Lyra grabbed his arm. No, she said firmly. I will not accept that. The indicator flared. Sacrificial intent, detected bond response. Elevate energy, rippled across the chamber. The counselors recoiled slightly. What is happening? One demanded. Lyra felt it, then a shift. The bond was changing. Ethan's choice was feeding it. Human, the central counselor said slowly. You would abandon everything for her? Ethan met its gaze. Yes, why? He answered without hesitation. Because she stood between me and a weapon, he said. Because she trusted me when she didn't have to. Because she treated me like a person. The chamber trembled. Data streams burst into the air. projecting ancient symbols the Council had not seen in centuries. Bond evolution in Pyarogara's, Slyra's breath caught. They said this was impossible. She whispered. The Central Counselor's voice grew uncertain. The system is reacting to choice, not biology. Ethan stepped back beside Lyra. I don't want power, he said. I don't want to rule anything. I just want her safe. The indicator flashed gold. A final message appeared. Bond classification. Anchor PAIR. The Council fell silent. One by one, the ancient beings realized the truth they had buried. Humans did not dominate through strength. They stabilized through care. End the trial. The Central Counselor said at last. The chamber lights softened. Lyra felt tears threaten her. Eyes and emotion she had never allowed herself to feel. Ethan looked at her. Did that go okay? He asked quietly. She let out a small, broken laugh. Yes, she said. You just changed the galaxy. But she knew something else. The Council's fear was not gone. And while the trial had ended, the consequences were only beginning. The tribunal chamber was silent. Not the tense silence of judgment, but the heavy quiet of realization. The Council of Nine remained motionless, their glowing forms dimmer than before. The words anchor pair still floated in the air, projected by the Soulmate indicator. Lyra felt the weight of history pressing down on her. For thousands of cycles, the Central Counselor said slowly, we believed stability required distance. Its gaze moved to Ethan. We were wrong. That single sentence shook the chamber more than any weapon could have. Lyra turned toward Ethan. His face showed surprise, but not triumph. He did not look like someone who had just proven an ancient council wrong. He looked like someone who wanted to go home. Another counselor spoke, its voice quieter. The records were incomplete, it admitted. We erased what frightened us. The hologram shifted. Images appeared across the chamber. Old star systems, broken alliances, lost wars. Then others followed, worlds healed after human contact. Species learning trust, enemies choosing peace. Where humans formed bonds. The counselor continued, conflict decreased. Recovery increased. Fear faded. Lyra's chest tightened. They were never destroyers, she whispered. They were stabilizers. Ethan scratched the back of his neck. Anchor pair doesn't sound dangerous, he said. It sounds helpful. A few counselors reacted with something close to shame. But understanding comes too late, one counselor said. The galaxy still fears humans. And fear spreads faster than truth. Another added. The Central Counselor turned to Lyra. Officer Kale, it said. You disobeyed direct orders. Lyra lifted her chin. Yes. You risked your position. Yes, you risked your life. Lyra did not hesitate. Yes. The indicator pulsed calm, approving. The counselor studied the device, then spoke. You will no longer serve as a cultural officer, it said. Lyra's breath caught. Ethan stepped forward. This was my fault. You misunderstand, the counselor interrupted. She will serve as something else. The chamber shifted. Platforms realigned. A liaison, the counselor continued. Between humans and the council. Lyra stared. Me? She asked. You understand both fear and trust now, it replied. Few do. The counselor turned to Ethan. Human Ethan Cross, it said. You are free to leave. Ethan exhaled in relief. But the counselor added, your bond remains active. Ethan glanced at Lyra. That's okay, he said simply. A ripple of quiet laughter moved through the chamber. Soft, surprised, almost gentle. The counselors had expected dominance. They found consent. As Lyra and Ethan were escorted out, the station corridors felt different. Aliens watched them, not with hostility, but curiosity. Some bowed slightly, others stepped closer. Whispers followed. Anchor, human, bonded. Lyra felt something shift inside her. Not fear, purpose. They reached a wide viewport overlooking the stars. For a moment, they stood in silence. I don't fully understand this bond yet, Lyra said. But I know one thing. Ethan looked at her. I am not afraid anymore, she said. Ethan smiled, a small, honest smile. That makes two of us. Behind them, far across the galaxy, signals began to activate. Other indicators. Other bonds. The Council watched the data. Streams rise and did not stop them. Humanity had not conquered the stars. It had connected them. And this time, the galaxy was ready to listen. The stars beyond Varex 9 looked different now, not brighter, not closer. Just reachable. Lyra stood beside the wide viewport, her hands resting calmly at her sides. The Soulmate indicator on her wrist no longer pulsed with warnings. It glowed with a steady, gentle light, as if it had finally completed its purpose. Behind her, the station hummed with a new kind of energy. Not fear. Change. Ethan leaned against the rail near her. So, he said lightly, you're officially a galactic liaison now. Lyra let out a quiet breath that almost sounded like a laugh. Yes, a position that did not exist until you arrived. Story of my life, Ethan replied. Lyra turned to face him. For the first time since her training began, she felt no need to hide her emotions, no need to filter her thoughts through doctrine and law. You should know, she said. The Council has begun restoring the erased records. Ethan raised an eyebrow. About humans? About bonds, Lyra corrected. And the damage caused by fear. Beyond the viewport, several ships moved into formation, human vessels alongside alien ones. Not guarded. Not separated. Together. The indicator chimed softly. Anchor status confirmed. Galactic network. SYNC Kerongzang. Lyra felt it then. Not pain. Not pressure, but awareness. She could sense others. Not hear their thoughts, but feel their presence. New bonds forming across systems. Cautious but hopeful. They are waking up, she whispered. Ethan followed her gaze. Other pairs? Yes, not all human, but most include one. He smiled slowly. We've always been good at showing up when things fall apart. Lyra studied him. Humans had been labeled fragile, yet here stood one who had faced the highest authority in the galaxy with nothing but empathy and choice. You did not force the galaxy to change, Lyra said. You invited it, Ethan shrugged. I just didn't want anyone hurt. The station intercom activated. Attention all sectors, the voice announced. By order of the Galactic Council, all restrictions on interspecies bonding are suspended. The words echoed through the halls. Aliens stopped. Humans looked up. Conversations froze. Then movement. Slow, careful, real. A small alien child reached for a human engineer's hand. A traitor stepped closer to a former rival. Fear did not vanish, but it loosened its grip. Lyra felt something warm in her chest. My people believed love was a variable to control, she said. They were wrong. Ethan looked at her, serious now. And what do you believe? Lyra answered without hesitation. That bonds are not chains, she said. They are bridges. The Soulmate indicator dimmed, then went dark. Lyra gasped. Ethan tensed. Is that bad? She checked the display, then she smiled. No, she said softly. It means the bond no longer needs a guide. She met his eyes. It trusts us. Far away, the Council watched the data flow stabilize. No chaos. No collapse. Only connection. Humanity had not proven its strength through war. It had proven it through care, restraint, and choice. Lyra took Ethan's hand, this time. The galaxy did not tremble. It listened. And for the first time in its long history, it answered. With hope.